Hey guys, this is NinjaGaijin with episode 5. So today's episode, I want to just talk about weather, like weather in Japan in general. I remember like the first time I came to Japan, like I said, it was in August 2010. Coming from Maryland, you know, both the summer, so I wasn't expecting such a huge drastic change. But, you know, after the 18 or so hour flight, including the transfers or the connecting flights rather, landed in Tokyo. And the second I got out of the airport, I was just hit with a wall of humidity. Like it was ridiculous. It's beyond explanation. The easiest way I could explain it rather is imagine a sauna just everywhere you went. Yeah, that's how it felt. So I even remember my first encounter with a vending machine in Japan. I went to it, I put in money, and I was expecting water, right? And I was like, oh, this looks like water, right? So I push it. It turned out to be Aquarius, which sounds like aqua, which is water, right? Well, for those of you who have been to Japan or have tried it, it's definitely not water. Aquarius is the equivalent to like a sports drink here in Japan. In America, it'd be like Gatorade, but I'm pretty sure Aquarius is healthier for you. So anyways, I come here and it's just super hot, super humid, and it's very unfortunate, but that's how it is in the summer here. Humidity is really high, usually above 80-90%. I've even had it where sometimes in the summer I'm driving and I can literally see mist radiating from the concrete, from like the pavement ahead of me. Like it's that high of humidity. So it's pretty crazy. And obviously the only way really to stay cool in Japan is, well, they don't have central cooling, right? They have these individual room-based units. The equivalent would be like in America or in foreign countries, basically the window unit, where it would be attached to a window and it would blow in cold air just through that, not through like an actual centralized system. So I had one of those. My first apartment, came to Japan. The apartment was unoccupied for probably about 2 weeks before I went in, and it was extremely hot. And I remember fiddling with the remote, trying to get it to work, and it took me like 30 minutes or whatever to figure out how to actually turn it on. But that's one thing to expect. If you're coming here in the summertime, expect high humidity. You'll see a lot of people with hand towels, sometimes even with like cool sheets. Basically what they are is you go to the pharmacy or the equivalent, like if you're from America, like Rite Aid, and people buy these like sticky sheets. They're kind of like, I can't even explain it, maybe this wide, and some people put them on their heads. Mainly the heads is for like fever reduction, but then people put them on their backs, you know, on legs. I've seen it where some people put them inside hats or inside their shoes to cool off as well. So people do that. Sometimes you'll see people with like mini fans. Not as often as you think, but yeah, mainly they use a towel technique, which interesting enough, there's like research done where if you're profusely sweating, it's actually better not to wipe it all off, because just by keeping some of it still on you, it helps actually cool your body down. So just something to remember. So the winters are obviously really cold. Unfortunately, in Japan, the winters, because because most of the apartments are like paper thin. I'm guessing it's because of the whole like the structural concept of being able to withstand earthquakes. So they don't want to make like giant concrete slab buildings. They want to make buildings that have a little bit of wiggle to it, or able to wiggle to it a little bit. So they're usually very cold. People, obviously, the unit I just mentioned for air conditioning, it's like it has 3 different modes actually. So one is air conditioning, right, cooling. The other one is heating, and then the third type is actually it's a humidifier, which I use sometimes, but usually if it's hot, I prefer just to use the AC function of it versus the humidity function. But definitely, if you come here and you have one, play with it and see which one you like better. So people do that. In the wintertime, there's the big thing in Japan is obviously kotatsus, which are like heated tables. I'm sure you've seen them before, or you will soon enough. They're basically tables with blankets, and there's like a heating element attached to the back of the table, or how should I say, underneath the front lid of the table, right? If you know what I mean. And so those are really popular here. It's like a normal custom to actually be sitting in that and eating a tangerine. It's just, for some reason, it's like a set thing. A lot of people do it in Japan. So that's how the winters are. Then of course you have spring coming, and you got those beautiful cherry blossom trees, right? Obviously, since Japan is kind of like big-ish, or long-ish I should say, they bloom at different months per prefecture, which is state, if you don't know what that is. For example, Okinawa's first. Okinawa, usually their sakura trees blossom in like January, so really early. And then the flip side is like Hokkaido is usually the middle of May. So where I am, I live in Hyogo, which is right smack dab in the middle of Japan. Actually, probably like 30-40 minutes from where I live, there's a place called Belly Button Park. The reason why it's called Belly Button Park is because it literally serves as the middle of Japan. So they have all different types of like inflatable things you can be jumping on. They really try and push the whole belly button image in the park. It's kind of interesting. Maybe one day I'll go and I'll start filming it if you're interested. But so around my area, the cherry blossoms tend to bloom around, I want to say, end of March, beginning of April is usually when it happens. And once they blossom, you know, it'll be probably good for 1 to 2 weeks. Some years it rains a lot, and then they only last for a few days, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. Usually around Japan, they have a lot of different festivals around that time. If you go to Osaka, then, and I'm sure this is similar in other big city places around Japan, but they have big festivals. So they have a park with all different types of sakura trees or cherry trees, because there's lots of different types apparently, which is nice. Let's see. The normal customs for that is you take like a box lunch and you go and you eat under the cherry trees, right? They call it hanami. A lot of drinking, a lot of eating. I did it once, maybe twice, I don't remember. Usually it's a little bit on the colder end, but if you drink a lot of alcohol, right, there's no problem. It'll warm you up really good. But I don't drink, so it tends to be very, very cold. Some years it's warmer than others. It's like a hit or miss. But that's usually one of the more popular times in Japan, because it's not too hot, not too cold. Plus you got the cherry trees, so it's pretty much a good time to come, and also pretty expensive. Next up is we have full-on spring, right? So I think think I skipped fall. Probably did actually skip fall. Fall is basically similar wherever you go, right? Changing of the color of the leaves of the trees. There are famous places. For example, if you go to Kyoto, there's famous temples that have, you know, lots of different trees, so you can see it. It's very nice. Personally, I went there once and I wasn't too impressed, but that's also because I live in a giant bowl. So when fall rolls around, which will be in a few months or something, actually like a month or something, I don't know, then you know, I'll be able to see really nice sceneries just from where I live, right? So I don't really need to go all the way over to Kyoto, which for me, let's see, Kyoto is about 2-hour drive, so it's not the most easiest drive or closest place to go, but I have been there, of course, a few times. And I think that pretty much wraps up my whole like weather in Japan deal. I'm sure I didn't touch on everything. I'll probably make a new video about it sometime in the future, but if you have a specific question, comment, whatever, just you know, write down below and I'll get back to you in a day or less, guaranteed. Alright guys, have a good one.